No.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Well, trying to get better at this whole thing.
It takes time.
Well, the backdrop is definitely. You should see the conversation I had getting it up and running.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to an episode of Rescued Reviews. I'm Nick. This is Kelly.
I'm Kelly.
And the man down here, Mr. James Jarvis.
What's going on, guys?
So, well, we do things like most of the other shows do. When we first get on, we just say hi to everybody, and we talk about what we're vaping on.
Sweet.
So, I'm going to put you on the spot, sir. You go first.
So, you all know me. And if you guys haven't heard my story before, I will gladly tell you guys, I'm not a vapor. Contrary to popular belief and being in this industry, I am probably one of, a handful of vape store owners that do not vape. And the reason for that is when I was growing up, my dad smoked. And we had, 2, 3, 4 hour car rides in the middle of winter. And I'm yelling at him to roll down the window because I can hardly breathe. And of course, middle of winter, no. I keep trying to hand crank down the back window and he keeps telling me to put it up. And then my grandmother smoked her whole life. And unfortunately, she succumbed to lung cancer when I was 16. I was at her bedside when she passed away, held her hand, watched her suffocate over the last year and a half. And, you kind of fast forward through the years, I started my professional life with Coca-Cola when I was 19. I got into, filling grocery store shelves, and then I went on to sales rep. I met my best friend, one of the greatest people that I've ever met in my life, Jason Gang, who, after a few years, he had been a smoker, and he owned a little gas station. His family owned one, and then he bought one. And lo and behold, I became his sales rep. That's how we met. And that was probably a year before I met my wife. So I've actually been married to Jason longer. But he had picked up a smoking habit along the way. And for a few more years, he was smoking. And then I kind of progressed on with the company. I was in charge of Walmart for the state of Ohio and I think Sam's Club. Years in the past, we had kind of lost touch. And then I kind of reconnected with him, I think probably 10 years later. So this would have been around 2008 actually. And he had bought his mom an E-cig for Christmas in 2007. And she absolutely hated it. He was trying to get her to quit. And Jason's a very tech savvy guy. He likes a lot of that. And, he decided, what, if you're not going to use it, I'm going to use it. So he started using it, around March, April of 2008 and decided that was the future. And he developed a company called Westside Vapor, which is basically a cig-alike. It's a 180 milliamp hour battery, and you get 2 cartridges and a USB charger. The cartridges each have 1 mil of liquid in them. And we had normal, and we had menthol, and we had 1 nicotine strength. And that's where he started. And we started talking about it. I'm like, this would be a great way for me to dip my toe in and try to hopefully prevent a son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter from going through what I went through, because I was spent a lot of time with my grandmother growing up. My dad played music a lot, and they were gone on weekends, so I would go to grandma's house. She would take me shopping. She'd take me to the trailer, camp out in the trailer. She tried to take me fishing. I had no patience for it, but God love her, she tried. And it just we were the best of friends, I guess you could say. And, when I got in trouble when I was younger, I would go to grandma and of course she would do what grandmas do and educate you a little bit and make you remember not to make that same mistake twice. How that goes, because both my parents worked a lot. My grandma at that time, had retired from General Motors. So she had a little more free time during the afternoons, and how mischievous teenagers are. I had to call grandma a few times to come bail me out of some interesting situations because I was a kid, hanging out with other kids, and how that goes, right?
Yeah.
So, so fast forward to when I was talking about, Jason started this company in August of 2008. And, because of my sales background, I decided, he asked me if I'd help him. I said, absolutely. So we just started going to gas stations and carryouts on the same exact route where I first met him, 15 years earlier, or whatever it was. At that point, going to little Sunoco's and tobacco shops. And that's how we started. And, as things progressed over years, we got different nicotine levels in the refillable cartridges or the replacement cartridges. Then we dipped our toe into refillable tanks. And then in 2012, I think, or 2011, he decided to put up a vape shop, which he opened up in Massillon, Ohio, called Vapor Station. I came around a year or so later, and we opened up our first one, Vapor Station Columbus in South High. We were the third store in Columbus. We had a company called Buckeye Vapor, All Smoke, and then us. And then from there, it just kind of progressed. And then I got into the industry. I got into the advocacy piece about 6 years ago because things had started to progress at that point in time. And again, with my sales background, I decided I was going to go make some friends at the State House. Went down by myself, knew absolutely nothing other than how to sell myself in the industry because I believed in it. And it wasn't a hard job when you believe in what you do. And I had a very good meeting with two state representatives that day. And then from there, I just kind of got into my blood. And then I joined OHVTA 2 years later. After 6 months, I was elected president, and I've been there for 4 years. So that's kind of a quick recap of where I was and where I've been. But that's, I do not vape, contrary to popular belief. You may see me hitting a 0 every once in a while because I do like to test the flavors when we bring them into the stores. But we generally leave that up to the staff because it's, just because it's what I like doesn't mean it's going to sell. They have a better handle on that than I do. So I let them, and we kind of by committee, they all try it and, thumbs up, thumbs down type of a thing. And if the majority wins, the majority wins. That's what we try to do. It's kind of it's a family atmosphere at the shop, and we love our employees. So
that's awesome.
That is really cool.
Sorry for a long-winded answer to one simple question, but that's just a little peek into my life.
That's okay.
I mean, I remember, what was it, St. Louis show? I walked up to you and I was like, you have to try this. This is one of our new flavors. You have to try this. And I didn't know that at the time, and I pretty much put you on your butt.
You did, but hey, I tried it.
Yeah,
just because I didn't want to say no, and I didn't want to upset or disappoint anybody. And I think I was actually honest with you when I said, this thing's probably going to kill me when I hit it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
You did. And I said, why? And then you hit it, you're like, I don't do nicotine. It's like, oh, crap.
But see, that's a great thing, though, is a lot of people don't realize is to be a part of the vapor industry doesn't mean that you have to vape. You can be a non-vapor and still be a part of the industry.
Absolutely. And, it's really funny that when I meet with oops, hold on. I think I lost you guys. Can you still hear me? Okay. Cool. Thanks, Alex. When I first started meeting with reps, they were like, you don't use the product? I'm like, no, it's not why I'm here. I'm here for other reasons. And they couldn't understand what I was talking about until I really started telling them the story I just told you guys. And then they really find it ironic now that, I'm the president of the trade association and I'm not really one that uses the product. It really kind of turns some heads sometimes in the State House or even in Congress because they can't understand how somebody that wasn't a part of the industry got into it and is advocating just as hard, if not harder, than people that have used it successfully. Kind of makes me feel good when they start asking questions. But, there are times when they ask me, well, what's this taste like? Or what's this do? And I'm like, or how long did it take you to get off smoking? Well, I never did smoke, but, it is what it is. It's kind of an interesting conversation, if nothing else.
It is. It really and truly is. And Alex, the gentleman you just mentioned, remember the waffle that we did?
Yes.
That's actually Delia's father.
Oh, cool. That is fantastic.
He's an awesome guy.
It's a pleasure to kind of meet you. Sorry you have to look at my ugly face, and I don't get to see your beautiful one on the other end, but I get to see these two, which always makes me smile.
Yeah, but funny looks aren't everything.
Yeah.
Right? Man, God bless my wife.
Right? I don't know how Kelly puts up waking up to meet it sometimes.
I wear glasses.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Right? I got really thick glasses.
They're real thick, so
you're goggles, some would say, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you guys vaping on? I know you asked me. Let me throw it back to you.
So I always have my all day, every day, my own boy skunk with the dead rabbit and a tip from Nick. And it always has vengeance in it because that's my go-to flavor. And then I have my pretty purge viper with Jess Marie tip. It's called mistletoe. And inside of that, I got some honeydew rocks by Vape Goons, formerly known as Sweet Nipples. And I just love this flavor, mostly because the name is great. But they
Sweet Nipples and Swamp Tits. This is perfect.
They had to change the name. They can't call it Sweet Nipples anymore because it's, I don't know, offensive to someone.
In California.
I was
right.
Like, it's honeydew and pop rocks. So if that's a flavor you're into, it's really, really sweet. I love it.
That's awesome.
But that's always
pop rocks. So does it kind of give you that whole poppin' type thing?
No, it's just more like a candied honeydew.
Okay.
We can make it do that for you, though.
We could.
I could put like a
that wasn't what I was saying. I'm just.
We have the coils.
Yeah, I mean, if we put a gnarly build in there, technically it would be poppy and spitty.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
What you got, Nick?
Well,
I told you I was not appropriate.
Oh, trust me, we had Homeboy on last week, and he was trying to get Kelly to stick her finger up my butt when we went to bed that night. So I mean, trust me, we can't. We talk about everything. That did not happen, by the way. People watching.
Sure, it's your story. Tell it how you want to.
It did not.
I refuse to go that direction. Nothing wrong with that direction, but that's just not
awesome.
my thing. For me, I have the Immortal Bang with my Pro Axial on top. I love this thing. It's kind of like a fidget spinner for me too. The middle spins.
That's kind of cool.
Right? 21700 mod hits just like a truck. It's great.
Jeez.
Inside of there, we got some of the new Nico that we will be launching.
Oh, that's cool.
March 17th, my birthday.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Oh, St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, sir.
Ah,
For the Irish.
look at the Irish. I like it.
Even
My
if it's
favorite
Scottish,
holiday.
it's cool.
That is my favorite holiday out of all of them.
Right, and I don't drink.
Well, I do enough of that for both of us. I haven't been lately, though. I've been kind of on this keto thing, and I'm down around 30 pounds, and
Nice.
I'm actually feeling good. I'm sleeping better at night. I'm not snoring and pulling the curtains off the wall, which is a good thing. But I have stopped drinking beer. I was drinking beer quite a lot, and I've kind of switched a little bit to a little vodka and water when I do drink. But it really has changed a lot, and I feel way better, which is kind of cool.
And the last thing I have, like always, my Immortal Grip with the dang on top. And inside of there, some good old Ben.
Good old Ben, yeah, old reliable.
Old reliable. I've been vaping on this since the day we came up with a formula and haven't put it down.
I love what you guys do with the tributes to the dogs. That's pretty awesome. My wife and I have adopted, or I shouldn't say adopted, rescued dogs since we've been together. Our first dog was a golden retriever who lived to be almost 16. We got her when she was 3.5, and she was pretty badly abused. She was a fantastic dog, and then we got a Jack Russell, long-haired Jack Russell, who was purchased for this family's 16-year-old daughter for her birthday, and he was fully registered, had his papers, and after about 8 months of only allowed to be out of his cage when he was fed or potty, she decided she didn't want him anymore. Took him to my wife's vet. My wife's mom is a vet assistant, and said, if you can't find somebody to adopt him, put him down.
Oh, that's hard.
So we took him. So then we had him and her for a little while, and then we got the third dog, which was our Scottish wiener dog. And he was a rescue. And then the last one we kind of rescued. He is just a little terrier, a little Yorkie, and he was our daughter's dog. And she got a couple larger dogs, and he didn't really like that too well. So he kind of come to live with us and didn't want to leave whenever she tried to go home that night. So that's kind of where our for, but we really love the rescue aspect of animals, and I absolutely love what you guys do with the brand and everything that you're doing, giving back.
Well,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We went to Humane Society. One of them over by us stays open a little late, so after I finished work at the shop, we went over to it, and we were there. They closed at 7. I think we left there about like 8:30.
Yeah, we just had, it was just we were just having a great conversation, and we originally went in because we wanted to pay for the adoption of an older pup named Buddy, who was in his teens. He's a lab mix, and lab pit mix, and like when we saw that face, we were just like, that's Ben. That is just a red Ben, and we were like, we have to do something. We have to make sure that nothing happens to him. And when we got there, we were like, oh yeah, he's already paid for. Someone already sponsored him. So we're like, well, to hell with this, we'll sponsor someone else. We're here anyways, so.
That's awesome. Around the kennels, we got to see all the dogs. We got
to give them treats.
Yeah, we got to give all the dogs treats, which was awesome because that doesn't get to happen very often.
Yeah.
And one of the ladies, like when we were talking about it, she's like, and she started telling us some sad story about some of the humane cases going on. And they were really sad. And then we got to meet
Lucas.
Yeah, Luke.
Aww.
So that's the Yorkie.
Aww.
That's Max. He was our daughter's dog.
He is adorable.
Yeah, here outlaw. So this is my boy. It's kind of hard to see him against that backdrop, but that's our Scottish wiener.
He's so cute.
He's outlaw. He's got his little front legs are shorter than his back legs.
Well, that's popular in cars or whatever. So he's just racing.
Does he trip over his paws when he's running then?
No, but he kind of trips over his tongue. He's got a long tongue. He's almost 7, and the little one's 5, I think. He's a good boy.
Dogs are just amazing creatures all around.
Yeah, they are. The other one, we had to, unfortunately, had to take him and make that decision. He was starting to have problems walking, and he was almost 16. And those two were kind of lost without him for the first couple of days, but it was really cool. We went into the vet, which again was where my mother-in-law works, and I couldn't stay in the room. My son, who's also 21, he couldn't stay in the room. My daughter, her wife, and my wife stayed in the room as they did everything. And as
I'm glad someone was there.
Oh, absolutely. We wouldn't. I mean, every dog, well, the two that we've done it with, we've stayed in, and they spoil them dogs. I'm telling you what, the dogs eat like kings. When they got there, they had hot dogs, they had hamburgers, they had French fries, they had cereal, they had some other little treats. As we were, after he had passed and they were coming out to the car to meet me, I was kind of walking in, and there was a gentleman that had walked by us. And he had kind of looked around and walked in, and I guess he had asked my mother-in-law, am I picking up their dog? And she said, yeah. He's like, okay. So the next day he comes back, actually 2 days later he comes back with the box and everything, and he had made a little keychain that had 3 pieces to it, actually 4 pieces to it. It was a heart. You remember whenever you were in high school, you'd buy your girlfriend a heart that had broken in half. Well, this one had 4 pieces to it. One was in his box, one came to my wife and I, one came to our son, and one came to our daughter and her wife. And my mother-in-law, the cool thing about that story is my mother-in-law said, in the 20 years that we've used him, he has never once given anybody anything free. He said he was so moved and touched by what was going on when you guys walked out that he wanted to do something special. So I know that was kind of cool.
The vet that Ben went to for his last visit was they made him a little ceramic paw print, and they stamped his name in there, and they put a little red heart in it, and then they sent us a sympathy card with like flower seeds so we could plant flowers for him.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they did that. They did that for Eddie. They did the paw prints and the nose print, and he had a little tumor on his nose and on his paw. You could actually see it in the print.
Oh.
And then he had a really long tail. We would never cut. His tail was probably that long. They cut it and they put a little blue ribbon around it, and they framed it for us. Yeah, they do amazing things, man. And it's a different relationship with your vet and parent and the dogs and cats than it is with your regular doctor. I know it sounds kind of weird to compare the two, but it is. It's a different thing.
It is a very different thing.
Right. I bet you guys wasn't expecting me to talk this much, were you?
No. We like it when people talk. Like, we really do. We want people to come on and talk.
But y'all know I'm not shy, so.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Well, while we're talking about dogs, let's go ahead and do our critter corner real quick.
Yep.
Critter corner. So, first up for the Critter Corner is we have some puppies that are looking for homes at the Union County Humane Society. We have a great relationship with them. The first dog, I believe, that you're going to see is Jana.
Nope, she's the last dog.
Okay, last dog is Jana. But, so, the last dog is Jana. She is a 4-year-old pit mix. The cool thing about the Union County Humane Society is if you were to go and adopt one of the dogs, yeah, the first one's Jana. But if you were to go adopt one of their pit bulls, they actually do 3 separate home visits. So that way they can make sure that you are bonding well.
Puppy.
Jana's actually in the snow.
Is she? No, she was on the couch.
I thought it was Jana in the snow.
No,
This
Jana's.
dog looks super happy.
Oh, yeah.
All the dogs are beautiful.
Oh, that last dog, you broke my heart. She looked
Yeah.
just like that. Looks like our retriever. That was our first dog.
Yeah, so all these dogs are available for adoption. The one in the snow is not Jana. Jana is a gray and white.
I thought she was brown and white.
No, but the Jana, we got a chance to meet her, and she was the sweetest thing. My oldest son, my 17-year-old, was the one that picked her out and said, "This is the one I want you guys to sponsor, so that way she can go home." So
That's awesome.
Jana has been at the shelter for a very long time. She needs to go home.
Yeah, she needs to find a family.
The awesome thing about the shelter is 100% refuse to euthanize a dog unless it is 100% medically necessary. And
Yeah. So, I mean, the Jana being a pit, they do, like I said, they do 3 separate home visits. So after you get Jana, they'll come and visit you a day later, and then a couple weeks later, and then they'll wait like a month or 2 after that second visit to come back and make sure that everything is still good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, pits are not. It's not that they're hard, but they're hard-headed.
Right.
So,
And it all depends on how a pit was raised, just like any dog.
yes.
And so pits have a bad reputation, and because of that, they want to make sure that the home that the dogs are going to is actually ready and can handle the dog.
The golden retriever is only 8 months old.
That retriever needs a family too. Those dogs are the best. Let me tell you. When we got Tasha, I actually went up. So this is a great story. I went up to the rescue place. It was a friend of my mother-in-law's, and it's about an hour and a half north of where we live. And I was going up to get a Great Dane. They had this.
Danes are so beautiful.
They had this Great Dane that was about 60 pounds underweight.
Oh no.
And yeah, they had just had him for a couple weeks, and he was eating him out of house and home, and he still wasn't putting on weight, and he was a little rambunctious because he was still a pup. And we went up there, and she said, "Well, unfortunately, he's lost 5 pounds this week for some reason, and we can't let you have him." I'm like, "Oh." So we have this really nice golden retriever over here named Tara, and this dog just kind of sat in the corner like that was her house, and she wasn't leaving. And you weren't dragging her out, and she didn't give a shit if the house was on fire. She was sitting right there, right? She came over to me, and she sniffed me and walked back over and laid down. Now, her sister, Tasha was like a puppy. They were both a year and a half, 2.5 years old, I think. No, they were 3. And Tasha was totally opposite. She was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and just would not stop. She'd come over, sit down next to me, she'd take her little nose and flip up my hand, then she'd flip up my other hand, then she'd jump on my lap, then she'd get down, then she'd want to play ball, then she wanted me to go outside, then she came back in. Literally, this dog, and as they always say, the dog picks you, you don't pick the dog.
Exactly.
So I turned to the lady, I said, "Well, it looks like this is the one I'm taking." She goes, "Well, you can't. We were going to keep her." I said, "Well, you better tell her because she's already chosen me, and I think she wants to go." She says, "Well, here's what we'll do. If you get up, you start walking toward the door, and she follows you out, you can have her." And my wife was like, "Awesome. Yes." Sorry, I had to do the sniff sound. I just saw that in chat. So I walked out the door, and she was right there, jumped up in our vehicle. We had a van at the time, and she sat right on my lap and rode all the way back to Columbus on my lap. But when we got her, whoever had her, I mean, they did abuse her a lot from what I was told, but they also taught her she could sit, roll over, speak. She knew inside, outside, upstairs, downstairs, and she was amazing with kids. Kids could jump all over that dog, pull her ear. She would absolutely do nothing. And the funniest part about that dog was my wife and I would play fight here in the house, and Tasha would get between us and she would take the hit. Like if Jerry was trying to smack me, Tasha would jump in front and take the hit, or she'd kind of get her hand in her mouth or arm in her mouth, would not let her hit me. Now, if it was the other way around, she could care less. Whatever it was, that dog and me, it just happened that day. She was fantastic. Just an awesome dog.
Now, Jana has been in the shelter 263 days as of today. So, wow. And that's a long time. That's
a lot.
A long time. And, we don't normally tell people what dogs are sponsored, but Janet is sponsored. So if you meet the requirements of the Union County Humane Society, that dog is a free dog. Okay. So you have to meet the requirements. They will do a background check. They will come to your house and make sure that you're a right fit for her. And they're going to do it more than once. So as long as you meet the requirements, you can have a free dog, basically. And not just any dog, but she's a purebred American pit bull. Like, she's just a beautiful, beautiful soul. Sweet as can be.
And they make great dogs.
She's house trained. They had her in the visit room, and she didn't mess once. I mean, she was a little crazy at first when she got in there, but I mean, if you've been locked in a cell all day and then you finally get a little bit bigger cell, like,
she was couch, wrestling with me.
It was wrestling with my son. And once she calmed down, like, she was just putty. Like, she loved my son. And my son is 17, so he's an older kid. But, like, she was just, as soon as she realized that she was okay, she was just a putty dog. She could not, for any reason, be bothered to move. She was just happy. So
that's awesome. So somebody go get that dog.
Yes.
Let's get that one a home. Let's get that retriever a home. Sorry, I'm stuck on the retriever. Not that I didn't like the other ones.
They're all great. That one
brought back memories. That another memory about that retriever, how smart they are.
Oh,
and we went out of town, went to Springfield from Columbus, which is like an hour drive, and it was snowing, and we got stuck there for 10 hours. Right? And this is the time we didn't have the other dog. We just had Tasha. We finally got back home, and we came inside, and that dog was so smart. She went upstairs and pooped in the shower. She would not poop in the house anywhere. She went up and pooped in the shower.
Ben, I mean, being 14 when we got him, he would hold it all day. I mean, we had our shop, and we would both be at the shop for 10 hours, and we'd come home, and Ben would be dancing out the door because he needed to go, but he would hold it for 10 hours.
Yep.
Sometimes longer if he had to. He was not going to have an accident. He was the best boy that we probably ever had.
And if you didn't put him outside as soon as you got home, he would have a little trail, but he would still be holding it, just walking to the door and crying and looking at you. And it's like, okay, I'm coming. You got to move out the way.
Like, at those moments, you can't really be mad at him because he's held his pee for 10 hours.
Right. It wasn't his fault.
Like, and he was serious. And when he left us, Vengeance, our mastiff mix, he was heartbroken. He would go over and look at Ben's spot and just be like confused, like, why is Ben not there? Because
right.
That was where Ben always laid. And now it's funny because anytime a dog goes into the area where Ben laid, we all just kind of like, oh, that's Ben's spot. And like the dogs at this point, they're kind of over it because it's been months. But they're like, Nick and I will look at each other like they're laying in Ben's spot. And,
It's kind of like Sheldon from whatever that show is. You can't sit on his spot in the couch.
Yeah, and still to this day, like we have Ben's ashes and we have his blanket and all his stuff is, we call it the shrine. It's a little shrine for Ben. And it has his awards from the shows and stuff like that in there too. So
right.
It's all things Ben. And when you come in, you can see everything Ben.
And the best thing is that like at Steel Valley we have signs hanging up for I smoked for X amount of years and quit using blah.
Uh-huh.
And just in his shop, there's 2 of them for Ben.
That's awesome.
And it's like he's gonna live on forever.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
and then you have your own animal with Will.
Yep.
Yeah,
you get to visit him every day. Is he potty trained?
It depends on the situation. I mean, he is taking care. I mean, it is like taking care of a extremely extra large dog.
Well, I mean, we do have Ben or Vulcan, which is Will's grand puppy.
It is.
Oh, nice.
So Will's doggy Mika
Yep.
got knocked up by a German Shepherd. Mika's a husky, and she got pregnant by a German Shepherd, and we got a Vulcan. So that's
Nice.
how that happened. So Vulcan is our non-rescue.
It's nice to come on and not talk about 100% vape every once in a while.
And that's the thing. Like we love vape. We love advocacy. Well, I mean, I vape a ridiculous amount because I enjoy it and it's relaxing to me. But we wanted to create a show where you feel at home. You can come. If you're having a bad day, just let us know. We'll make you smile. No matter what, there's something that will put a smile on your face. Between me doing something stupid, or me telling Kelly something, and one of us acting silly, or just the guests having a random conversation, and me looking at Kelly and be like, "Hey, hey, hey," and she'll think about something stupid I said earlier, and that's the whole thing.
So part of Critter Corner is we always have a training tip.
We do.
And a lot of people, okay, so with Vulcan is, he's about 10 months old, and he is a ball of craziness. I mean, he's a puppy, and he's part husky and part shepherd, so he just has all this energy. And one day I was like, I'm going to give him a bath. And I almost died because I had not worked with Vulcan, so he didn't know what a bathtub was. And he lost it. He's jumping all over me, all over the bathroom, like the bathroom was covered in mud. And I was like, well, what did I do wrong here? And I got to thinking about it. If you don't want your animals to be scared of things like the vacuum or the bathtub, you almost have to desensitize them from it. So what I like to do is when I go to the bathroom, if it's just me and Nick here, I'll leave the door open in the bathroom. And I know a lot of people are like, well, that's weird, but the dogs follow me. So when I'm in the bathroom, the dogs follow me into the bathroom, and I encourage them to get into the bathtub. That way, they're not afraid of the bathtub. And now I can give Vulcan a bath without him freaking out because he's not afraid of the bathtub. He thinks it's fun because when he gets into the bathtub, I get to snuggle him a little bit. So things like vacuum cleaners. Bring the vacuum cleaner out, set it in the middle of your living room, and love on your dog. And after a period of time of loving on your dog when it sees the vacuum, they'll learn that the vacuum is a good thing. So it's almost like Pavlov training, but backwards. So,
don't put the vacuum cleaner into the bathtub.
No, don't do that.
That'd be a bad idea. Very bad.
Especially with your dog in there. That would just be
This
horrible.
is true. They have to have a big bathtub at some point. Some of these dogs are huge.
Yeah.
Like the Great Dane.
I mean, that's the bathroom I'm working on for Kelly. The shower pan is 8 feet long and about 4.5, 5 feet wide.
Sheesh.
Well, the reason behind that is we have 5 dogs, 4 of which are 75 pounds plus. And if I need to bathe a dog, I have to get into the bathtub with them for most reasons, because it's a lot of dog. So this way I can go into the bathroom, shut the door behind me in the shower area, and wash the dog without, fumbling all over and hunkering over the side of the bathtub trying to figure out how to wash the dog.
To answer Emily's question, do we like our fur babies more than humans?
Yes.
Definitely fur babies.
And Nick will tell you, the guys at Steel Valley will tell you, I do not leave my house unless I can take a dog with me. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times Nick will say, hey, we need to go here. And I'll just go, no. He'll say, fine, you can take Vengeance. And I'll go, okay. Like, I don't like to leave unless I can take one of my pups.
John Papa.
Oh,
sorry.
Papa's in?
Yeah, he just popped in.
Oh, Papa's an awesome guy. So
he is.
With the pack leader, James, I don't think you've got to see this one yet. These are the new ones. This is the new line that we're doing.
I have not gotten to see that.
So the labels are nice and boring.
Okay, well, no dogs this time because, dogs are kid friendly.
Yeah.
Well.
But what we did instead was we put a QR code on it, and you can scan the QR code, and it will actually take you to the website and bring up the pictures of the dogs, the dog story, the owner's information about the dog, all the stuff that they want to share.
That's awesome.
And Pack Leader is for people of the industry. So like Nico is Grim Green's dog. Mika is Will's dog. So we're just choosing random people from the industry and people that have, like, kind of when we first got started, are like, you're screwing up here. You got to do it this way. So it's been
Nice.
an awesome thing.
Very cool. I
We're
like it.
already working on our next one, so.
Yep. Because we're not worried about this flavor ban that's supposed to be happening tomorrow.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I guess we can talk a little advocacy.
Yeah.
Well, we planned on having some advocacy.
I guess I'll touch on that a little bit since that's been the thing today. So what we do know at this point is obviously Congressman Pallone, way back, probably I don't know, mid-year last year, introduced a bill to ban flavors and including menthol cigarettes and also an online ban and some other stuff in the bill, and just kind of sat there because they were expecting the FDA to do something, and it never happened. And then Trump was going to do something, and then that never happened. And well, obviously, at some point in time, we're getting close to elections, so there are certain legislators that want to go back to their districts and say, "Hey, I did something to protect kids. Vote for me again." So that's kind of where the mass amount of support has come lately for the flavor ban. Mostly from one side of the aisle. Actually, I think all from one side of the aisle. The problem with that is, Congress is majority Democrat, but we do have some great relationships in some states with the other side of the aisle. Congressional reps. So. Then it all comes down to education and what is actually the meat and potatoes of the bill. So today,
I believe I read that it was not just vapor products for this bill.
correct. It includes all smokeless flavored cigars and menthol cigarettes. So so obviously last week we started hearing. 2 weeks ago, I started hearing the bill was moving. When I was in D.C. I talked to a few folks while I was there, just on the side as we were walking around, and they said, "Yeah, the bill's starting to pick up steam. We're probably going to see something happen in the next 2 weeks." On Friday, I got a call from the chief of staff from one of my Congressman Stivers. He was in town from D.C., and we had just met with him in November. He just wanted to reassure me that the congressman was supportive of keeping small business open. He did want to see some kind of testing implemented on vapor products, which I understand. But he thought what the FDA had set up was a little bit onerous and definitely expensive and overkill.
Expensive.
And then on Monday, I got a call from a different congressman's chief of staff who apparently, so I called his office here locally 2 weeks ago. They must have called the corporate office, and Congressman Balderson told his chief of staff to call me back. She was in the room with us whenever we met down in D.C. and said, "Hey, I just wanted you to make sure that you knew that the congressman was definitely voting against this flavor ban and yada, yada, yada." And then we got continually talking about some other stuff. And I'm trying to set up a second date for some of the Ohio folks to go back down and make another round with our congressional leaders just to talk about things moving forward and how important May 12th is to this industry. And if we can't get some kind of reform, what's going to happen. And, it's kind of caught a lot of their attention. They don't want to see small business go away, which is a good thing. But more importantly, right now, we've got to fight this flavor ban. What we are hearing are some of the folks are pushing back because their menthol cigarettes are included in this ban. And they want to keep menthol cigarettes available. So if it stays in, they will not vote for it, which I guess is a good thing. Even though we're still keeping cigarettes out there, it's going to keep the flavors alive for a while, unless they take it out. But I really don't think they would take it out because then you would have every anti and association, the heart association, lung, all those folks, cancer, would be outraged if they if they voted against the bill or pulled menthol cigarettes out of that bill. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would be easier for them to kill the bill than to pull the menthol cigarettes out.
I mean, it seems almost hypocritical of them to say, we're just going to ban everything because,
Right.
I'm not saying that cigarettes are great, but cigarettes have been around for years and years and years. Like, they're not going to go away overnight.
Right.
But it's my choice as an adult woman if I want to smoke, if I want to vape, if I want to walk down the middle of the street in my underwear. That's my choice.
Yes.
No, I don't think anyone should do that. I don't think anyone should vape. Honestly, like if you don't need to vape, don't vape.
Right.
Like if you're not a smoker, there's no reason for you to vape.
Right. I mean, we tell this story every time I talk to a legislator. There's three things that we don't do. We won't sell to anybody underage. We ask for their ID and we make sure that we scan it.
Yep.
We don't want to sell to a customer who doesn't smoke or vape. And we want to lose customers through success.
Yeah.
Right. From a business standpoint, it's the worst business model in the world from a profitability standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, when we had our shop, we used to love it when we'd stop seeing customers in the shop and start seeing like at Walmart, and they'd almost like do the "you don't see me" thing, and like you'd go over and you say, "Hey, how you doing?" And they're like, "Well, I quit vaping. I'm sorry." It's like, why are you sorry? Like
you did what we set up for you to do.
Like you did an amazing thing. Like completely support you. Like go for it. Do what you don't have to vape to come into our shop. You could just come in to say hi.
Right. It's hard for the legislators to understand that. And they're, well, how are you going to have a sustainable business? Because there's 40 million people left to convert. That's how.
Yeah.
So,
and then there's people who vape that are always going to vape.
Correct. Like, they don't want to get off of it.
Well, like Nick, the nicotine helps his Crohn's and colitis. So he continues to use the vapor products, and he'll probably never stop using vapor products because it helps him. I can vape a zero and be perfectly fine. I don't need the nicotine anymore, which is amazing. Right. I choose to keep the nicotine because I like it.
Right. It does good things.
If I don't have it, I'm not trying to kill people over it anymore.
Right. So tomorrow should be interesting when they bring this thing up to vote, if it comes to the floor for a vote, because there was a lot of pushback today from both sides of the aisle. And, hopefully it was a lot of stores and a lot of consumers calling. But there was a lot of pushback today, which was a good thing. And then obviously if it does go through the House, then it's got to work its way through the Republican-controlled Senate. And I don't know that the Senate's going to want to do anything to ruffle feathers, take a risk on losing any more seats. So this could be a win-win for us in general. If we do go down in the House, go to the Senate, we get enough people voting against the people that voted for the flavor ban, we get them out, we get the seats flipped, then we have a majority back in the House and in the Senate again, which would allow us to do some really great things down the road. But, it is what it is, and it sucks that we have to live our life like this, waking up every morning wondering, what's today going to bring. But guess what? Every other regulated industry has to go through this as well. Yeah. So, it's just something that we have to learn to do and to deal with in this new formation of our industry, because we are, whether we like it or not, we are regulated by the government, and we need to abide by their regulations and figure out how to work together with them to make things continue to move forward. But so all hope's not lost, but we definitely need to make some noise tomorrow, obviously, and then whenever the vote happens, if it even happens. If it's to the point where it may not pass, they may not bring it up.
Yeah.
Which would be great. Again, that would be a huge win for this industry. I don't think anybody in this room knows how big of a win it would be.
Nick and I have talked about the PMTA thing and PMA, yeah.
PTMA. Let's get them all backwards.
Yeah, and we both agree that if this were 100% free, there would be no excuse for any vapor product to go through the whole thing. Even if it's just $100 per flavor per Nick strength, like that would be great. But Nick and I did the math, and in order for us to go through all the testing that they're requiring, somewhere around $35 million.
That's probably low.
Yeah,
honestly, because
that's the low number.
I'm seeing for one flavor almost a $12 million quote.
Yeah.
And we have as of right now, we have the 7 flavors that we've released, and each of those has 3. The rescued, each of them has 6 Nick strengths.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like us. We've got 200. We have 120 some flavors with 6 nicotine strengths.
Yeah.
That isn't going to work for anybody, and I have explained that, and they're like, "Oh."
I mean, and we've talked, we're like, okay, well, how do we come up with $35 million? I'm like, well, if we sell everything, we still need 34,599,000.
If we sell everything, we still need
more. Yeah, like we could sell everything and we probably might get 20 grand. And that's like selling everything, our pets, our cars, like that's living out of one vehicle.
I'm going to start selling Nick. Put him out there in the corner.
I'm like, I wonder how much I can sell myself for.
They can make some good money, you know, because they'll be like $20 and you keep him.
Right. I just want visitation rights. That's all.
I mean, it's just, that's an insane number. Like, we're not Jewel. We don't have that kind of money. Like, we live paycheck to paycheck just like everyone else does in the industry.
Absolutely.
You know, there are times where we're like, okay, well, how far can we let this bill go before we pay that bill? And everyone's like, well, you own a liquid line. We own a liquid line. Yes, but that doesn't mean we're loaded. It just means we found a flavor that we like, and that's what we're doing.
I mean, even in our stores, it's kind of the same thing. You know, we had to shut one of our stores down in December. We made the decision in July, and we had a manager who ran that store. She was very young, and she had a 6-month-old baby, and I wasn't going to do that. I couldn't consciously put somebody out of work. You know what I mean? Especially going into the holidays. Yeah. And then when the lung shit hit, the store's just killed. And you know, here I am. I've got 3 people at that store, one of which who has a baby. I can't lay her off before Christmas time. And luckily, in December, her husband got a job and transferred immediately to Alabama, I think it was. And so we decided to absorb help back into the Columbus market. And we closed that store down. You know, I hate it for the consumers in that town, but there's still one other vape shop, and you know, one of mine's only about 15-minute drive away. But it wasn't the point; it was a convenience for them. Yeah. And it just sucks. You had something that you worked so hard on and built up and made it beautiful, and you know, you got nothing to show for it besides a bunch of debt and some pissed off customers.
I feel you completely on that. With us shutting ours down in October.
Yeah.
We get a call at least every couple days asking what time does our shop open. They've been sent outside, and it's like we're not a shop anymore. We had to make the decision: do we keep Rescued going or do we keep the shop going? Because one was feeding the other, and at that point, we can't do that. We're not making anything if we're taking the money from Rescued to pay for the store. We have to make something, or we're going to be living in the store.
Right. I mean, there was months during that whole lung scare, we didn't take a paycheck from the stores. We couldn't afford to.
Yeah.
Rents were late. I mean, it is what it is. Electric bills were late. We had to make decisions and play the shell game until finally, shit started breaking free. And then Christmas came around. I mean, it wasn't super great, but it was better than it had been. And then, January, first couple weeks of January were okay. And then it kind of went back to a lull again, and now we're starting to see some folks come back with, tax returns and so on and so forth. Plus, the message is getting out that it wasn't really our product doing the damage.
Exactly.
Even a lot of the local media now, through all the interviews and stuff that we've been doing, and especially here in Columbus, we've had a lot of success talking to the media here, and the message is getting out. All the way up to Toledo, we had the DJ Scott Sands call me a couple hours before Alex Azar was on a show. Say, hey, James, I've got Alex Azar on my show this afternoon. Can you send me a question to ask him? I'm like, absolutely, I can. So I thought about it, and I sent back a question and talked about, is the FDA going to force 15,000 small businesses out of work and 100,000 plus people to the unemployment line? Or are they going to make a pathway that is viable for a small independent business to continue to operate? Well, Scott kind of took that and reformulated it into his own question. And we've got Azar on tape saying that they made a streamlined pathway for small businesses, and that they're not about putting this industry out. They're focusing on the pre-filled cartridge market or pod market. That interview went all the way up to the White House. Amanda Wheeler went to D.C., I think a week after that, and she took that interview. She met with HHS and delivered that interview to them for us. I went the following week. I met with Marco Rubio's staff, Senator Johnson's staff, and the Small Business Administration, Small Business Advocacy Office, sorry. And I delivered that to them. It has now made its way into the White House, and it's starting to come back out because there was a letter sent by Mitch Zeller talking about how HHS doesn't have the authority to do that, but they do. And then there was a letter that went out by 11 senators, one of them being Sherrod Brown from Ohio, demanding the FDA continue on the current path of May 12th. And then Scott, ironically, had him on a show on that Monday afternoon, and that letter came out Monday evening. I missed it by 2 hours because Scott would have asked him that question, why he would support this. So Scott did send him an email and said, hey, I'm the radio show that you were referencing in the letter, and I just talked to you this afternoon. I'd like to have you come back on the show so we can talk about this. This is something that's pressing for everybody. Everybody wants to protect the youth, but the stance you're taking doesn't make sense. And they declined to come back on a show. So
I mean, I'm not saying that youth will never vape, never smoke, never drink, but it's my job as a parent to educate my child and encourage them to make smart decisions. And by me screaming at my teenagers, don't do this, this is bad, I feel that doesn't work for my kids. If I educate them and I explain to them why this isn't for you, then they'll most likely make a smart decision and go, maybe mom's right, maybe it's not for me. It's putting up posters in the bathroom saying that vaping is going to make you gay. What is that? That's bullying in itself. And now you have all these LGBTQ kids who are feeling attacked because vaping makes you gay.
No, don't forget about the Ohio, the education board that's doing the...
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that. When that came up to me the other night,
I called them, I've left messages, I've emailed them, and I've told them, my kids know about vaping because mom's in the industry. They know it because I'm in the industry, but they also know that my products are for adults over the age of 21. They don't touch it because they know better. They know it's not for you. Yeah. They'll come to me and say, hey mom, your vape juice is leaking. Okay, I'll clean it up. That's not for you to clean up. That's for me to clean up. And that's my job as a parent, to educate them. This is mom's thing. This is not a you thing. It's just like with alcohol. You teach your kids and they'll make the right decisions. Putting up those posters in bathrooms and holding contests for scholarships, that's how some of these kids are going to learn about this stuff, is because you're telling them about this stuff. They, in other words, would have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. Exactly. I mean, so, kind of going back to all this, we've done a lot of education. We've got a lot of buzz going out there. We've got congressmen, we've got senators, we've got state reps and state senators that are all way more knowledgeable than they were, this time last year. And one thing that we have done here lately to even help us further our momentum here in Ohio is we started something called the OHVTA Political Action Committee. And what a PAC is good for is a PAC can write checks. The Ohio Vapor Trade Association state group cannot write checks to legislators or their election fund or whatever have you. The Political Action Committee, however, can write checks, whether that check is to go for a $500 plate dinner for a fundraiser for that candidate, or just donating to that candidate because maybe they have passed favorable legislation for you in the past and you just wanted to say thank you. There's all sorts of things you can do from a political action committee that you cannot do from just a regular state association. So we have started that. And as of right now, we've had 7 donations. We're sitting at about $2,100, I believe. They give you just an idea. If we was to go to one specific state legislature's campaign fundraiser, it's $7,500.
Wow.
Yeah, but this person is extremely influential in the state of Ohio. somebody that we should probably get a chance to talk to. This is just one of those things that would give us unedited, unfiltered access during the 3 hours that we're there and stuff like that. So that's, because we've done so much good on the other end, and this is one more step to making us a legitimate quote unquote industry, because that's the way alcohol does it. That's the way pharmaceutical does it. That's the way other regulated industries do it. And we're going to make that step and do the same thing here. So if anybody would like the help, I'm going to throw the link or the website in this chat. Please visit it. It's www.ohvtapac.com. Any donation would help.
So anyone can donate like $5, and that's a help. And there's no minimum of you have to donate $100.
Correct.
Okay, so see, that's even more awesome, because I know a lot of people out there can't afford $100, but there's a lot of people that can afford to donate $5.
Absolutely.
And for all those people that donated to the Delia Brave waffle that we did, here's the next thing. Let's do that. Let's donate that money that we would have spent on a pack of cigarettes and send it to the pack, and maybe we can help get that moving and help get that going, so that way the industry is taken just a little bit more seriously.
Absolutely. And we are going to do some things. Every contribution that comes to us, I am going to sit down and write a thank you letter, or thank you note, just because I think that, that deserves it. You want to make sure that you let the people know that are donating that they are appreciated, and every dollar counts. Yeah. For folks that give over $100, we bought some really nice lapel pins that have OHVTA's logo on it. So if you donate $100 or more, we're gonna send those out. But here are some things you can and can't do. Individuals can give up to $5,000 a year. Cash donations cannot exceed $100, and anonymous donations are limited at $50 or less. Excluded from contributing: foreign nationals or foreign companies, corporations and labor unions, federal government contractors. Contributions made by one person in the name of another, or a corporation cannot reimburse its employees for contributions. Those are the only rules that we have. And I want to see this thing grow, and I want to be able to start getting into the point in writing checks.
That would be awesome.
As soon as you post the link in the group, James, I'm gonna go ahead and add it into the stream, so that way we can.
It'll stay on the info.
Yeah, the info for the show.
Awesome. I dropped it in there, but yeah, whatever you guys can do to help us out, that would be amazing. It didn't light up blue for whatever reason, but it's in there. John Papa has some fingers right underneath of it.
Oh, I didn't get it on my screen. Oh,
yeah.
Did you get it, Kelly?
I'm in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
Yeah, it's just right above John's four fingers pointing up, the first set.
Yeah, I see that one. I don't have any links. Can you? Everybody's gonna see my mouse on the screen. Sorry, guys. Can you share it?
Well, what was it again? And I'll type it.
It's www.ohvtapac.com.
There, I put it in there, so you guys might have to copy and paste it because YouTube rules. But we will put it in the description of the video and all that stuff. That way, y'all can help out whatever you need to do.
So I'm trying to read John. John made some comments up here. He says, James, after months in, when I do my rent, I got it going to the pack. Just want to take care of my bills first. Then he goes on to say down here, can I ask for a pen with a spritz of your cologne when I do? That's great.
And Papa said my link went through, so that's...
Yeah, yours did. I got yours, and I just added it into the information on the stream.
Sweet. So when you do go to donate, it asks for you, I think, for probably your email address, and it does ask for your home address, which is great because that's a way that I can get back and send you guys the thank you notes and anything else that we've got going on.
So that means our new mission in life is to make James's hand hurt for a different reason.
Yes. This is true. I'm glad you said that.
Just
I need to learn. I need to learn to write with my left hand. It's almost like cheating, right?
I mean, and
we'll go with that.
I will say that as an adult, I do enjoy getting mail that is not a bill. That is like one of the best. Like when I go to the mailbox, like I don't want to go to the mailbox 99% of the time because half the time it's bills. Other times it's for people that don't even live in my house. Like we get mail for people that lived here 5 years ago, and it's like, they don't live here anymore. We keep telling the mail guy they don't live here, but we still get their mail. And then the rest of the time it's just junk that I'm just going to throw away. So it's like
the best was trying to get the house off of the sex offender registry when we first moved into it.
Yeah. When you buy a house, make sure that it's not registered to a sex offender.
Yeah.
Oh, please. No.
We didn't know that you should do that. We just bought a house because we needed a house, and we were living in a not very good neighborhood, and this house came available, and we're like, let's do it. And shortly afterwards, we found out that it was registered. A sex offender supposedly lived here.
Ugh.
Yep, and that took a long time to get that removed from us.
Yeah.
Hopefully they got it to the right person.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. I mean, so many people, they don't register like they're supposed to. And, I mean, it's crazy.
Absolutely. So will anybody in the chat have any questions about advocacy while I'm here? I'll try to answer with what I can.
Yeah. So I asked James not too long ago, I was like, so how do you become an advocate? Because I was like, this is something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about the industry. And James pretty much told me, just do what you're doing. Like,
absolutely.
Keep going. Keep doing it. And that's how you become an advocate. There isn't like a sign up or anything special that you have to do. You just have to do it. So,
absolutely. I mean, you have to have a very demented demeanor. You have to be able to take on the unexpected and be able to make sure that you can, obviously, your industry. But the most important thing, if you're meeting with legislators, it's all about selling your industry. And like I said in the very beginning of this, if you're selling your industry, it's not really selling because you believe in what you do.
Exactly.
And it's easy to do. Just like when you work, you never work a day in your life if you enjoy what you do, and that's the same thing with advocacy.
I mean, Nick and I joke about how I tell people I'm unemployed because I technically don't go to a job. I don't leave the house to go to work, but I do work. My job is, rescue. That's what I do. I promote rescued. I talk about rescued, and I bother the senators and I harass people in the government. Not really harass, but like I try to educate them, and I have long discussions with Aaron Mills about why you're wrong, and it always ends up her ignoring me. But
So real quick, is Bianca in the room somewhere? Bianca from Texas. I just got a $10 donation to the PAC from Bianca. So I'm assuming she's in here.
Well, Bianca, if you're here, you are an amazing human being.
You are an amazing person, and I do appreciate you. I hate to put you on the spot. See, the email came from Bianca. I'm going to screw this up. Mustaler from Austin, Texas.
Well, if you're here, you are a wonderful person.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bianca.
And if it wasn't you, if it was your husband, you're a hell of a nice guy too.
Whoever did it, you guys are great. Like, I mean, and that $10 is enough. Like that can help pay for a tank of gas or a small dinner or it can really be pretty much anything.
We don't even do. I mean, strictly the money in that pack is going to specifically. Again, one of the things that we wanted to do, we didn't want to, just like with OHVTA, we don't want to ever use the monies collected for personal benefits like a hotel, car, travel. So OHVTA, when I go to DC, everything's out of my own pocket. And the reason is I own businesses in this industry. I'm going there to fight for my business. I can use that for my business.
Bianca is caramel waffles.
Caramel waffles. Well, thank you, caramel waffles. You are amazing. I'm pretty sure you taste good too if you're caramel waffles.
James, adults don't like flavors.
Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, everything, all the money that we get is going to either be spent on something for the association, like backdrops or marketing materials. The PAC is strictly going to be for events with legislators. Again,
Okay.
everything we do is out of our own pocket, and that's the way we've chosen to do it. We could very well use OHVTA to reimburse us for travel or hotel. I've decided not to do that, and all of the rest of our board has agreed. So that's the way we decided to run it.
And
awesome.
that's really awesome of you, because it could be it could easily be spent on yourself.
Yeah, and it really, and believe me, business was so bad there a couple months back when I went to DC. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have the money to go. And I was going to talk to the board and see if we can't make some amendments to the bylaws. But we scraped it together and I went. It was almost $900 for hotel, airfare, and
Wow.
for DC. But, we made it happen. So, the great thing about advocacy is it's passion driven. It sure as hell isn't for the pay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you, when we went to DC, that was the first time I'd ever gone to DC, and the place we stayed at wasn't the nicest. I mean, for British eyes only can tell you all about our Airbnb.
Yeah, we call it the trap house.
It was
Nice. The trap
it
house.
was you could tell that it had been broken into at least a couple times. Like,
Yeah, it had a cardboard over replacing one of the window panes.
yeah, like everything had like bars on it, and like it wasn't a good setup, but
It wasn't bad. It
Exactly.
brought a lot of great memories, and we got to meet British Eyes for the first time, Ryan Lilly.
yeah, he crashed at our trap home.
Yeah, never knew him before, and he's like, "Hey, can I crash?" We're like, "Sure, why not?"
We don't know you. We don't know what you look like. Just walk on in. Come on.
Right? And that's one thing great about this industry, no matter what it is
Yeah.
we're all family.
Yeah,
No matter what we do, where we go.
exactly. That's why Kelly and I got married over in North Carolina.
I was there.
Yeah,
I still to this day have people go, "That was you?" Like they're almost shocked that anyone would consider that. And I'm like, first off, I didn't know I was getting married that day. I was told that I had to bring a dress because
I knew you were getting married that day.
I didn't know.
Kelly and I, when we first got together, we both been in bad relationships, and we were like, you know what? No matter what, we're not going to lie to each other. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, we're not going to lie. And so, I felt like a dick the entire time because she's like, so you don't bring any nice clothes ever to the shows, because this was her first real show going to. She's like, so why do I have to bring a dress? And I was like, you look pretty in dresses. And she's like, okay, well, that's a load of shit, so why do I need to bring a dress?
What are you up to, Nick?
And I told her, I was like, look, I go, we've been trying to get into demand vape. We've been trying to get into Midwest. I go, I have this big dinner planned for all of us. We're going out to a nice restaurant. You have to dress nice. You can't dress in jam jeans. And she's like, fine. And
I packed a dress simply because I had to, not because I wanted to. And like now I look back on it and I'm like, there were so many signs. There were so many things that I should have been like, I know what's happening. But for some reason my brain didn't click the way it should have. So we had someone ask about any rallies or meetups or.
So the question was specifically in here, it was about the rallies at the FDA and CDC that the Vaping Legion was going to do. I don't know about those two, but I know there is something in the works for a rally. And it will be in DC. I just don't know when. I know it's going to be soon. They've already filled out the application. They're waiting on the approval. They wanted to do it in March, but the only date they had available was Arbor Day, I guess, or something. And we didn't feel that it would probably, I'm part of that. They didn't feel that it was probably the right date or the right time during Arbor Day weekend. So they are trying a couple other dates. And once those dates get finalized, or that date gets finalized, it'll obviously be announced on the Vaping Legion. It'll be announced on UVA. I'll announce it as soon as I find out.
Oh, we'll announce it
It'll be everywhere because we're going to need to make it twice as large.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to say thank you to Emily Blue, who's in here. I seen a donation come across from her just now. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Emily.
You're an amazing human. We love you.
Absolutely. It's really nice, just to kind of sit and chit chat and, you don't have to feel the stress and the pressure of everything else going on. Because it's been crazy. I mean, there were some times back in, I don't know, well, let's see, from November until New Year's Eve, I don't think I slept comfortably at all, especially the month of December, because we kept hearing this and that. And I mean, I was at a rally in Kentucky. I think that was November. I drove down with Jeff Kathman, Frank Cahall, and one of Jeff's employees. We drove down to, I think it was Lexington, might have been Louisville, can't remember. One of the L's. We went down, and it was a rally at a Trump rally. And I got a message. As soon as we got there, we were all excited. I was getting the crowd where I was at amped up, and I was going Facebook Live, and we had KSFA did an amazing job of getting people there. And all the state leaders got a message from Tony. Hey, guys, we're here, and the flavor ban is going to be put into effect tomorrow. And here we are just getting ready to get this rally started off. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I had to keep, the positive image going up, even though I just got told our industry was going to be shut down the next day. And then we woke up the next morning and nothing. We thought, maybe it was just a fluke. We'll hear it tomorrow. And woke up the next day, nothing. And it turns out Trump had the bill on the plane, and he decided not to sign it. And I really think it was because of the show of vapors in Kentucky at that event. And then the next one we had the same type of thing. And then we continued to do it. And then it was December 27th or 6th, must have been 7th. I flew down to Tampa to spend the weekend with Nick Orlando and Dolores. My wife decided to stay here to keep an eye on the business, just in case something happened, so we could react here. So I went down for a Buccaneers football game. It was the last game of the season. And on Monday, I woke up, and Nick said, hey, you want to ride over to Mar-a-Lago? I'm like, all right, you're driving. It was like a 4-hour ride or 3.5-hour ride. And we went and grabbed another store owner there. And then Jonathan Ristine from Gentleman's Draw met us there. So we got there, and we sat up, and we had one sign said, "We vape, we vote." And Nick had brought 4 T-shirts, which were Florida Smoke Free, and then on the front said, "We vape, we vote."
And you were those dudes.
And we just kind of sat there. We didn't know what to expect, and we're amongst all the Trump people, and we didn't say kind of whether we were for or against. We took some time educating. A couple people did not like the fact that we were there. They thought vaping was the devil, and we were stupid for being there. But I have just as much right as they did. So when the presidential caravan was coming over, because the only way you can get to Mar-a-Lago is this road, and at the end of this road, there's a bridge which takes you over to Mar-a-Lago, and it's a drawbridge. So we sat there by that drawbridge, and President Trump came cruising by with his big entourage, and and we're just holding our signs up, and we see him go by, and he's waving at everybody, and like, man, that was kind of cool. They had the scramble, the signal scramble, so the live video didn't work. And about 10 minutes later, I get a Facebook tag quote from somebody said, "Man, you guys must have really done something to get noticed about." And then Amanda Wheeler, I think, sent me a screenshot, and she's like, "Look." And there was the tweet heard around the world at that point in time, said four vape bros in white T-shirts that said "I vape, I vote," and one professionally made sign. And you see the picture was taken from inside of the press van.
Yeah.
And then then there was another press corps person that tweeted it out, and there was another press corps person that tweeted it out. So we had 3 of them that were talking about us there, and that actually made the interwebs in the White House, when I understand, that we were there.
And that's why, I mean, even if you can get to a rally or a state house or anything, like, just go if you can. I understand that money's tight for a lot of people, especially people in the industry right now. But that's why we're always so make the phone calls, send the emails, because even if you can't go, they're still going to have that stack of paperwork sitting at their office, and they're going to see all these people that are saying, "Don't do this. This is a bad idea. If you ban this, if you get rid of this, this is a bad idea." Like, make the presence known one way or the other.
I mean, it was crazy. Nowhere in my mind did I ever think I'd be less than 6 feet away from the president, holding up a sign or a shirt that says, or having a shirt that says, "I vape, I vote." I never thought that would have ever gotten his attention, nor did I ever think I'd be that close to him. But you could clearly see him looking at us and waving as he went by. And then, I had to fly home the next day, and Nick was back there again with a few other people. And then, on Thursday, they had over 100 people there, which was, everybody kind of knew he was going to be there on Thursday. So that's when most of the people were there. And then they were there again Friday. And then, I was home, and then I saw the announcement at the Mar-a-Lago New Year's Eve thing where he said that he was going to look at banning flavors in pod systems, not open systems, which kind of gave everybody a huge sigh of relief. And then obviously the next, I think 2 days later, we got the announcement from the president and HHS that that's what they were doing. It's like, holy shit. I don't know if that had anything to do with us, or if it was just, Tony Abood, Greg Conley, Scott Ely being at the White House roundtable that day, and then flash forward to every time there was a Trump rally, there was a group of vapors out in front. I went to Battle Creek, Michigan. I went to Hershey, Pennsylvania. I went to Toledo, Ohio. I went to, I think it was Louisville or Lexington, Kentucky. I was at every one of those events, and I did multiple local media hits, interviews. I did a couple national interviews. Matthew Salter and I talked to the guy from Barstool Sports in Hershey, PA.
How'd that go? Because I know when they got a hold of Elliot, that didn't go so well.
And then they were going to follow up with Elliot. No, it went fine. It was just the guy was being kind of a dick while we were there. And it was to the point where they wouldn't talk to me because I was being very critical of their questioning. But Elliot did a great job. And then, I don't know, about a month ago, he sent me a message, said, "Hey, do you want to drive over to New Jersey and do an interview with Barstool Sports with me?" I'm like, "Absolutely. If it happens, let me know." There was also a message that was sent to me wanting possibly me to go with somebody on the Howard Stern show. I don't know where that's at right now. Hopefully it still happens. I'd love to go there. I know Howard hates this industry.
Which is funny because it's Howard Stern. You know that he's not like sitting at home drinking his water and, he drinks flavored alcohol, and you know that he smokes cigarettes. Like,
he's used to.
He's not. There's no way that he should be offended by vapor products of all the things in the world.
Right. He just doesn't understand and doesn't care about it, and it's something that doesn't interest him. I know a couple of his staff members use the product. So hopefully we get a chance to go on the show. Hopefully we get a chance to do a Barstool. I've gotten to the point where I've gotten very comfortable doing interviews, and I don't leave a whole lot of rope for me to hang myself with. So, and I'm very blunt, especially when people start attacking or making light of the industry during interviews. It doesn't normally end well for them. It's just the way I've been.
The industry is we're people, and that's really all it boils down to is we are people. We are human beings. We have emotions. We have feelings, and we have the right to support something, whether it's good or not. Like, it's not going to be 100% healthy, but it's 95% healthier than cigarettes, which right. I smoked cigarettes for 25 years. And I can tell you the day that I walked up all 13 steps in front of our house carrying a 50-pound bag of dog food, I was beyond excited because I had never been able to do that before in my life.
That's freaking awesome.
And when we went on our honeymoon, we went to Boston, and part of our honeymoon was going to the rally in Boston.
I remember that.
Which was great. But the thing that got me the most is we walked around Salem one day. We walked probably 6-7 miles in one day. And when I smoked, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I was able to do that. And I was able to enjoy myself. I didn't run out of breath. Like, I was having a great time. The worst part was my knees hurt, but that's because I have bad knees. Like,
Right.
Like, that was it. That was the worst part of the trip, is every now and then my knees would hurt. But I walked around somewhere that I always wanted to go, and I had a great time, and I didn't have to stop to smoke a cigarette, and I didn't run out of breath because I was going up a hill. Like, it was great.
So Matt, sorry, did not mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Matt Page just had a great point. Said if you can't make the trip, there is power in an email and a phone call, and absolutely there is power in emails and phone calls.
Yeah.
This industry has lived by emails and phone calls, and let me tell you, they do work. John Papa said, "We are driven from our own successes of quitting the nasty combustible cigarette crap." You know what's even better story is to tell when we talk to legislators. 98% of this industry are success stories.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they open their businesses.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's the God's honest truth. The best advertising for this industry comes from the people who have used the product and been able to quit.
I mean, that's why we opened the store. Kelly quit and it was successful. That's why Will opened his store.
Yep. You can advertise all over the place. Nothing is better than word of mouth from a successful quitter.
And I will tell you, I have tried to go back to cigarettes. I really have. I have tried, and I can't do it. They are disgusting. I get like physically sick now just from the smell of it, and I don't even have to be smoking one. And that's insane because, 5-6 years ago, I was a pack and a half a day, easily. And now I can't even be next to someone who's smoking a cigarette because it just physically makes me sick. And I never thought I'd be there.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy the way things have changed. I never in my life imagined I'd be State House, let alone the nation's capital, fighting for a product that I didn't use.
Right?
But believed in what happens with it. It's absolutely amazing to me. And on top of the pack, something else that we've started doing, I've developed a relationship with two doctors at The Ohio State University, Dr. Bradley Shields and Dr. Sarah Reisinger. They have been doing a lot of research on vapor products, and we've gotten a lot of very favorable research back from them. They've published 3 different papers so far, and I've gotten all 3 of them. I've shared them out. They also had a hand in New England Journal of Medicine article that came out not too long ago. Today, I reached out to Dean Amy Fairchild with the Ohio State University School of Public Health. Dean Fairchild has been interviewed along with me a couple of different times on the local news stations, not at the same time, but like during the same interview piece. She's also published some very favorable research in the past. She was the keynote speaker at the VTA's conference in Austin, Texas 2 years ago. When she was at a different college, she came here last, I think, July, August. I reached out to her today and going to try to set up a meeting with her as well, just to introduce ourselves, introduce the association, thank her for all of her brilliant work because she has done some amazing things, especially around the needfulness and usefulness of flavors, and how we shouldn't be taxing or banning flavors. It's amazing the connections that we've made in this industry with people that I never would have ever talked to.
Oh, exactly.
And I'm hoping that this continues to go well because some of the research from Dr. Reisinger and Dr. Shields is mimicking what we have seen and read in the Royal College of Physicians.
That's awesome.
Which has me super excited.
Yeah, that is really awesome. I mean, I've always wondered, I've read the Royal Council of Physicians study, and it just always comes back to our lungs as Americans so much different than the lungs of the people in England. And it's crazy because Nick is half British. His mother is from England. So she lives in the United States. If she were to need a lung transplant, would she have to have someone from England's lungs? How does that work? You know?
It's crazy. I mean, and we're getting a lot of favorable research all over the place. Dr. Brad Rodu from Louisville, Dr. Abrams and a few others were the ones that debunked Stan Glance's stuff from the American Heart Association. And from what I understand, Rodu debunked another Glance paper today.
Yeah, so, I heard something about that. I didn't get a chance to read it.
And he works very closely with David Abrams out of New York, Michael Siegel out of Boston, and Dean Fairchild out of Ohio State. So those four are...
I think it froze.
It did. It froze.
That's amazing, which was another reason I wanted to tell Dean Fairchild. So because we did have Dr. Rodu drove up from Louisville to be a guest speaker at our OHVTA rally here in Columbus on October 1st.
Yeah, we felt really bad. We wanted to come to that, but that we'd already had our tickets for our honeymoon, and we're like, crap.
Go do honeymoon type things.
We're like, what do we want to go to the rally. Like I sat on the couch and I just looked at Nick. I was like, I want to go to the rally, but I want to go on my honeymoon. What do I do? And Nick's like, we'll go out to a rally on our honeymoon. Like, and I'm like, wait, we can do that? Like,
right. It's just amazing. It's amazing that we're getting a lot of positive science now.
Yeah.
And finally people are seeing through the womanizer, the woman abuser, the Stanton Glance. People are finally seeing that this guy is just a shill that's being paid for research. They're being paid to put out research favorable by the organization that is hiring him.
I mean, I haven't noticed any side effects of vaping other than I no longer smell like an ashtray, my skin is clear, and I can walk up a flight of stairs. Like, those are my side effects.
And those are amazing.
Like, I don't get embarrassed by walking into a room anymore and wondering, is that smell me? Because I don't smell like an ashtray. People will come up to me and go, what kind of perfume are you wearing? It smells good. And I'm like, it's called Vengeance. It's banana caramel candy. Like, and they look at you kind of crazy because, like, it smells good. Why do you smell good? And it's like, I don't know why I smell good. I just hit it walking in. Like, not really sure.
Right. I took about 10 studies from Ohio State from those three folks that I mentioned earlier, and I sent them to both Democratic congressmen that were supporting the flavor ban today. And then our lobbyist reached out and called both of them to ask them to really take a step back and look at some of this from our own Ohio State University here in Ohio. That does carry a lot of weight with legislators, especially at a school like Ohio State, which is pretty awesome.
I just noticed that my name also says Nicholas Stewart.
That's okay.
I mean, we're married. We're one person, right? That counts.
Right. It's really like that way you guys can. Yeah, it's Nicholas and Nicholas Stewart. It's fine.
Yeah. I just had a moment. I was like, wait a minute. Why does it say Nicholas Stewart? There you go. It says Swamp Tits now. That's better.
That's even better.
That's better. Yeah.
Right. We need Rod in here now. Where is Rod?
Rod is a busy man. He is a very busy man.
We are going to do an episode. We've talked to Rod. Rod's going to be on, and we're going to have Bubba on.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's going to be good times.
I mean, next week, we already have next week lined up. So, I mean,
Thesis himself next week.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Thesis. He's a YouTuber.
Okay.
And he makes coils and RDAs and like he's a really cool dude. He's got all kinds of stuff.
Very cool. If anybody on here wants to tune in on Mondays at 10 o'clock on Smoke Free Radio, myself, Nick Orlando, and Mike Peterson do a show. It's called the Monday 20. It lasts 25 minutes. And it's really kind of a quick update on, our two states, obviously, and then a federal update. And then we invite one state leader on each week. Next week, I cannot remember for the life of me who's going to be on. But I know I just said to them, Georgia. Georgia Smoke Free. I forget who it is, but they're going to be on next week. This week we had Nebraska Smoke Free, Iowa, IFAST, and we had John Glauser from New York talking about what was going on. So we had a pretty packed show this past week. But if anybody wants to tune in on Monday morning at 10 a.m. to see my wonderfully smiling face, please do. And it's every Monday we share it from my Facebook page. If you're not a friend on my Facebook page, please request me. I have no problem with that. I like everybody.
And then we are going to Mohegan. We will be there.
Nice.
So if you're not going and you don't have a reason why you can't go, you should come. It's going to be fun.
Heck yeah. I wanted to go this weekend to the hemp show just to see Rod, but I'm going to surprise a friend of mine down in Knoxville who just opened a bar. He also owns a vape shop.
Yeah, we have all our guests lined up until April.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I want to go to Knoxville. I think it'd be a fun trip.
It's going to be good, Glenn Kate, I don't know if you guys know Glenn from Vintage Vapor. I met Glenn on a wrong turn 6-7 years ago. Wife and I were heading to Florida, and we went in Knoxville, and we got off this exit to get gas. And I said, you know what? We should probably grab a sandwich. And I looked over and saw this vape shop. Oh, I got to go in there. So we went in. It's kind of a speakeasy feel into the store, kind of darkly lit. And I had a high state pullover on. And the guy looked at me and says, I like you already. And it happened to be Glenn, and Glenn was from Ohio.
Nice.
So that's just how we met, and we became friends. He's been up here to Columbus several times. We went to a couple OSU tailgates, and then he decided he was going to open a bar, and it's going to be right next to his shop in Knoxville. It's called Marble City Ale House.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to getting down there, even though I'm not drinking beer anymore. I can't wait to get down to see Nick, go down to see Glenn and his wife, and the whole staff down there, and Chris Lotz. I don't know if you know Chris Lotz. Chris has been traveling to a lot of the Trump rallies everywhere. He's from Tennessee Smoke Free as well. He's going to be there, and probably maybe some other surprises. Hopefully, Alan Davis will pop over. I don't know if he will or not, but it'd be nice to see him as well. But super cool. It's a little tiny speakeasy feel on the inside. He's got one of those really cool beer keg things that fills from the bottom of the glass.
I've seen those. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super awesome. So I'm kind of looking forward to going to that. Hell, I may even guest bartend for him. Who knows?
Isn't that supposed to reduce the head?
It is. It's supposed to reduce head, and obviously it'll prolong your
Carbonation.
Yep. So.
But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of stuff coming. So Nico's going to be dropping on the 17th.
Yep.
We will have it at the expo, most likely.
There's a couple of shops that have already pre-ordered it, so be prepared.
We're going to come out with some new shirts because, shirts are fun.
Yes, they are.
New hats.
Like just all kinds of new stuff. And I might be participating in something kind of crazy coming up.
Uh-oh.
There's a couple ladies that I'm friends with, and we're talking about doing a podcast. So just hanging out, a bunch of ladies trying to take over the world.
Yep.
So
It'll be from vaping to everyday life. So not just a normal, boring vape podcast.
yes, it's not just vaping. I mean, we'll talk about everything.
Even periods.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine me having a podcast as much as I like to talk. Good Lord.
Well, right now we're calling it the bitch burrito. So that's
The what?
It's called the bitch burrito.
I love it.
I giggled like when they said that. I was like, that's awesome. I kind of need that to be a thing.
That's fucking awesome.
So yeah.
Bitch burrito.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And then the expo, I've already said it like 4 times. Nico, thesis next week. Yeah, there's so much stuff going on.
If I ever did my own show, it wouldn't be just about vape. It'd be about everything.
Well, and that's why we include things about, Rescued is about animals, and we want to educate people about animals as well as vaping. Like, it's harm reduction on both levels.
Right. I'd want to talk about music. I'd want to talk about music, movies, everything, and vape, obviously.
Yeah.
But NASCAR. I love NASCAR. I like drag racing. And I love football. Love baseball. Like hockey. Just so much out there to talk about. And
Yeah. I mean, vaping is just something that all three of us have in common.
absolutely. And, it's something that we all love and we're passionate about.
Yeah.
But
gonna
I
be
don't know,
fun.
one of these days, maybe I'll figure out how to get a podcast together and start doing it.
It's really easy. Like, I figured it out today. I was like, I called Nick. I was like, hey, these girls want to do a podcast with me. How do I do that? And he was like, I don't know. We'll have to look it up. And I'm like, okay. And I sat at my computer and I started typing things and I just clicked a couple things and I'm like, well, there you have it. I have a podcast now. I don't know what I did, but I did it.
Yeah, it's like getting this Zoom thing up and running. I had no idea how to do it, and Hellhound was going to have me on. They were going to have me on their show, and he's like, "You got Zoom?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "You know how to operate it?" No. So, dude, we worked on that thing for about 6 hours, and he kept telling me what to do, and he was telling me right. I just ain't fucking smart enough to do it myself on this end. So
we're all getting up there in age, and there's only so many things you can learn.
He finally called me on my phone, and he was videoing exactly what buttons to hit, and so I marked them on my keyboard, so I knew exactly what to do. And after about the first 2 times, it was off to the races. Now I'm okay with it.
Oh yeah.
Boy, oh boy, it was a nightmare getting up. And it was so simple to get it done. I was so embarrassed. I'm like, my God, I'm stupid.
No, you're not stupid. You haven't. What was it? Ashley Reagan said something to me at a convention one time.
I love her. She's fun.
And it like totally put things in perspective because I said, I'm just stupid. And she went, no, you're not stupid. You just haven't learned it yet. And I went, oh, well, that makes sense. Like,
I'm not stupid. I'm intellectually challenged.
Like, it just kind of hit me. I was like, you're right. I haven't learned that yet. So I'm not stupid. I just haven't learned it. Like, okay. And I felt a little bit better about myself after that. And I'm like, leave it to Ashley. Like, what an amazing human being to just be like, no, this is all it is.
And she just moved to California.
Yeah.
Yes.
From Georgia.
Yeah. I saw her in... where was it? Were we in D.C.?
Yeah, she was in DC.
Yeah, I think I just saw her... No, I saw her in Vegas at TPE.
Nice.
Me and her and Dylan, Taylor... God, who else was there? Kara, Amanda, Jordan, Dave Gravy. There was a bunch of us there. Jeff Catherine was with me, obviously. There was a bunch of us there, and we all had dinner together. They were super fun. We had a great time. That trip was pretty awesome. Because I wasn't a vendor, so I didn't really have to stay at a booth, and I walked around and got to see and talk to so many people. I got to see my all-time favorite basketball player, Karl Malone.
Nice.
Yeah, he actually has a cigar that he co-brands with somebody else and a rum that he's now endorsing.
Awesome.
So I got my picture with him. The guy's like 7'3" or something stupid. And I look like a little short, fat midget next to him.
Former Rockets player.
Former Jazz player. He played for the Jazz, and then he played for the Lakers. I think 1 or 2 seasons.
He wasn't Rockets.
He was not. He was. He came from Louisiana. That's where he grew up and played college ball there, and then got drafted by the Jazz. Talked to him, and I got to see my buddy Inick and George. Of course, my two homies, Phil and Demetrius. Hung out with them quite a bit. I got to see a lot of other folks just walking around that I never really get a chance to do, and I had nothing to be there for other than just to talk to people. Disappointed that I seen about 40 new Puff Bar style disposables introduced at that show.
Yeah.
But it really made me want to go around and collect one from every table and then walk over to the FDA booth that was on the other side of the room and leave them there. So investigate these guys first. But I didn't. Wanted to. Lots of CBD. I saw something really cool there, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was I thought I might have had a business card here somewhere. It was an herbal thing. Here it is. So it's called CASAA. So it looks like a little dip can, and it has pouches in it. but the pouches are filled with herbs instead of nicotine.
And that could be really, really awesome. I hope they do research and determine what herbs are best done that way.
They've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, like 12 different options. They do a CBD one as well, which I thought was kind of neat. But the guy was telling me you could take 3 of those pouches, throw it in your water, and you have basically green tea.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know this, but I'm actually a certified herbalist.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I am taking classes to become not just certified in everyday medicinal herbs, but also be certified in medicinal CBD.
So this is that company, CASAA. It might be a great. We're gonna probably bring them into the store. Just have something for the tobacco users, the dippers. Something else for the dippers, because it does not have nicotine in it. It does not have tobacco.
Harm reduction is harm reduction, and that's all
which
that matters.
Great. I thought they were awesome. So I met that. That was kind of neat technology. Saw some other stuff there. Saw these little, I don't even know what you want to call them, cartridge blanks that went over like a Jewel cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
It changed the flavor, which was interesting. So you could put a strawberry over the tobacco, and then you got strawberry tobacco.
Well, that's
instead of having a cartridge, it's just a little mouthpiece you float over it.
Oh, that's cool.
Saw this really neat CBD hemp cigarette that kind of utilized the old tobacco technology with the Camel Crush, where you would crush the little thing inside of the filter and it would give it an extra menthol boost. This had two little beads. One you pressed and it gave you like a strawberry, and the other one I think you pressed and it gave you like a menthol if you wanted it.
And that's really cool.
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It was just kind of neat seeing a lot of other stuff for a change. And we had, there was a couple OHVTA members were out there, which was good to see.
We will have our CBD muscle rub and our CBD breath spray at the booth in Mohegan for sure. So
Sweet.
People with aches and pains, you want to try something new that's not a narcotic, come on over. I'll rub you down, and not a weird way, I promise. In Florida, you have no idea how many dudes in Florida I had to go rub just because people were like, will you put it on? I was like, well, yeah. I mean, and I just had to go mom mode and like, I'm just rubbing whatever on this injury. And people were like, by then they're like, this is actually really kind of cool. It's actually working. It's like, yeah.
First night she got back to the hotel, she's like, I have touched so many dead men today. I feel so dirty. It's like...
And it was never like nice spots. It'd be like the back of their leg that they couldn't reach, or their lower back that they couldn't reach. And it's like, can't it just be like your forearm? Like, no,
right.
I'm sticking my hand up strange men's shirts to rub stuff on them. And this is weird.
Keep going. I like how every good story starts out this way.
But it is 9:45. We have to get ready to go watch Failure to Launch because we love supporting those guys too, because they are amazing human beings.
I don't know how long the show normally goes, but I'll sit here and talk for hours. So yeah, better you cut me off than me just look up and you guys be gone. So.
we generally try to make sure that everyone has a chance to go to the bathroom, grab a snack, get a refill on their drink, and get ready for the next show.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk. I want to say thank you again for the 2 donations that we got during the show. That is pretty amazing. And again, if anybody feels the need or wants to help out, please visit ohvtapac.com. Any amount will be greatly appreciated as we continue to move forward and navigate this industry and continue to evolve and become more of a professional association on all fronts. So if anybody has any questions, reach out to me, reach out to Nick, reach out to anybody that is connected to OHVTA. We'll be glad to get the answer to you if we can.
Keep making your calls and sending those emails. And if you haven't done that yet and you're not sure where to start, get a hold of one of us 3 and we will gladly send you over a list of whoever it is that you need to get a hold of.
Absolutely. I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Thank you all. Thanks for having me on again. Appreciate you.
So every show we end with one specific saying. And it's one of those things that we've said, I say it to my children every night before they go to bed. And I say it to Nick, and I say it to everyone in the industry because it means a lot to me. So I love you and I like you.
That's awesome. So I appreciate that. And I love you both and like you. I understand what you mean by that.
Yeah.
So that's very, very cool. I do appreciate everybody. Thank you guys again for having me on.
That's our
Anytime
pleasure,
you want
James.
to, anytime you want to bring me on, I'm more than willing to talk.
Well, the 25th, I believe we have something special going on the 25th. So once we have things more ironed out, we'll let everyone know. But keep an eye out. Don't forget to join the Patreon for all the sneak peeks and sneak samples and all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
Lots of fun stuff.
Well, from all this here, we want to thank y'all for joining us. Thank you, James, for coming on. It's been our pleasure, man.
Yep. Take care, my friends.
You too. And anybody else, we love you and we like you guys. We hope all y'all have a great and wonderful week, and we'll see you next week on Wednesday.
See ya.
See you guys.